Hi, my name is Lauren Hunt, and I'm an affiliated faculty member in the Philip R. Lee Institute for Health Policy Studies. I'm also a Senior Atlantic Fellow in the Global Brain Health Institute, and I am an assistant professor in the Department of Physiological Nursing in the UCSF School of Nursing. So what I'm thinking a lot about these days is the challenges with hospice and end-of-life care for people with dementia. And I'm especially interested in how these problems intersect with racial and ethnic disparities in hospice and end-of-life care, as well as some of the interesting economic forces that are shaping the hospice industry today, where the hospice providers are shifting from primarily nonprofit to now being about 75% for-profit agencies, and an increasing growth of private equity acquiring hospices. So these issues are interesting to me because I see dementia as one of the biggest public health challenges that we're facing in the United States today. And I think that people are pretty aware that dementia is a big problem, a big public health problem due to the aging of the population. But I still think that there's gaps in the way in the fact that people don't think about dementia as being a terminal illness. But the fact is that about 1/3 of all decedents in the United States have dementia at time of death, and almost half of all hospice recipients have dementia. Yet the models of hospice and palliative care are still not adapted to this population. So one of the big problems that we see is that in order to be eligible for hospice, you have to have a likely prognosis of less than 6 months. But this is very challenging to determine for people with dementia. And so what ends up happening is that people with dementia oftentimes have very long lengths of stay in hospice and high rates of being disenrolled from hospice because they're no longer considered eligible. There's also concerns that providers are selectively enrolling people with dementia into hospice because of the way the payment structure works. They make more money the longer somebody is enrolled in hospice. So at the same time, Medicare, who's the primary payer for hospice in the US, is trying to crack down on these potential bad players who are taking advantage of the system, and have initiated a bunch of policy responses to try to decrease length of stay and disincentivize people with dementia going into hospice. So my current work is really trying to understand the impacts of these policy reforms on hospice care for people with dementia, and whether there might be unintended consequences in reducing their access to hospice care when there's really not other models of care out there that are available to support people with dementia and their caregivers.